Give me a little intro there, Gomer.
There's no turning back now.
Let's put on the show.
You're listening to the Station 71 podcast. My name is Mario, and this week I'm joined by my co-hosts,
Beth
and Brian.
So we are catching up on some news this week. It's been a minute. We've got a lot to talk about, and there's a lot that's happened. So let's dive in with, I guess, the most exciting news, because this was the top of our news discussion. There was a Destination D23 that just happened, which, weirdly enough, we got a lot of announcements from this year. So let's go down the list, and we'll talk about some of the things that are happening. First one on this list of things is that the Hatbox Ghost is coming to Magic Kingdom in late November. We knew about this one, but not the date, so date's kind of cool. How are we feeling about this?
I'm excited about the Hatbox Ghost. I think we kind of discussed this before, but kind of weird how they're going to implement him into the ride.
Yeah.
I don't like how they're breaking the story for it.
Yeah. I know for 95% of people that doesn't matter, but I do, Haunted Mansion is like sacred ground. Right. If there's anything that you're going to be more particular about, more keeping with not even the original idea, but, you have a running storyline, even if it is kind of loose, you need to stick with that.
Yeah, I agree.
Did either of you see the movie yet?
No.
I actually haven't.
Oh, geez. Okay. At some point, I think it comes out in October on Disney Plus. I would like to discuss that with you and see if that changes your feelings on this at all.
Oh, interesting.
I have a feeling that it's going to tie in with the movie more than it is the ride. And it's not no spoilers or anything, obviously. And I don't feel like it's a great answer, but I feel like the movie kind of writes around some of that in a way that maybe makes this make a little more sense.
Okay, so that's fair.
I don't think it's a good solution. Don't get me wrong.
Okay. I'm intrigued, but I don't know. I guess we should say, for anybody out there that's listening that may not know why this is an issue, at least not having seen the movie, is that you're not supposed to be able to see any ghosts until after Madame Leota does her little spell, incantation, whatever, and they're planning on putting the Hatbox Ghost before that room, correct?
Yes. It's the extended hallway scene.
Right. So in the lore of Haunted Mansion, it doesn't make sense, not having seen the movie. Now, I'm intrigued by what you said, Mario, but at the same time, it kind of irks me still, because it feels like all we're doing is movie tie-ins at this point. I mentioned this in the Discord. It's like, and I know we're going to get there, but with these original attractions getting changed and closing and, implementing IP after IP after IP, it just feels like we're never going to get original content again. Like, everything is going to be based on something, not new stories that are, it's like an attraction that exists for the sake of the attraction. And that kind of bums me out.
And, to your point, Mario, there might be a very good explanation in the movie, but it's kind of like, oh, so we took a character from the ride in the movie, and now we're going to use the movie as an explanation for why he belongs at the section he's at the ride. It's like the ride is the original source material. So I feel like that needs to be consistent.
Mm-hmm.
Well, my only thing, and this is like just not counterpoint defense for the movie or anything, but counterpoint defense for the attraction, he kind of can't really go anywhere else. Like in the Disneyland version,
Yeah,
Beth,
but
I guess you can
I
correct
would.
me if I'm wrong here because I haven't been there. He's in the attic, but there's not a lot of
Yeah.
room in the attic.
Right. I mean, I'm gonna reserve my opinions until after it all happens, but I have a feeling I would have rather him just not come. Like, it's a cool
I honestly think that I agree
effect.
with that, though.
Like, it's a cool effect. He's a cool character. That there's obviously like a long-standing history of like Disney fandom with the Hatbox Ghost, but I don't know. It just feels as much of Disney as these days very forced and shoehorned.
Right. It's like they heard everybody saying, "Oh, we want the Hatbox Ghost on the East Coast," and they're like, "Okay, here." It's like, well, no, like
not like that.
Yeah, exactly. Which I know sounds so bad to say, but it is kind of like, come on, you're gonna do this in the most popular attraction, like probably the most popular, or at least like cult following character from your most popular attraction in the other park, and when you bring them here, you're gonna kind of just throw them in there. Feels very forced.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll see though.
I want to hear your thoughts after we talk movie spoilers at some point, because I do think that may change some of it. If you need convincing, I will say, as much as we bashed on the Eddie Murphy movie, I saw this movie twice in theaters now, so it's got to account for something.
I've heard good things about it. I feel like the expectations I have are so incredibly low that it can't possibly be worse than that. So that's something.
My spoiler-free review that nobody is asking for right now is I did the same thing that you just said, Beth. I went in the first time and I was like, it's whatever. Like, I had a friend that saw it and was like, you need to go see it. The only time that he's been to Disney was with me, and was like, you will love this. I know you. I know that you love the Haunted Mansion, so this is like, it's going to be a movie you're going to love. And I was just like, okay, whatever. It is what it is. But I had so much fun with that movie that I wanted to go back a second time and try to catch all the little Easter eggs, because the movie does this great thing where I know we kind of talked about this with the Jungle Cruise, where the Jungle Cruise was like a love letter to that attraction while being its own thing. And the Haunted Mansion really tries to do that. But I think the Haunted Mansion has such an identity that it has to contain a lot more inside of it. And it really held that balance very well. So I liked it a lot. I thought it was a fun movie. And if you're looking for a lot of Haunted Mansion references and nods to the attraction while still having some uniqueness, it's definitely that.
I'm intrigued.
But that's my soapbox I'll get down off of for a little bit. We have another attraction thing with a new lounge inspired by Pirates of the Caribbean being developed for Adventureland. I don't know. This one's interesting. The big thing that's
this sounds exciting.
I'm excited. I know.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
They need to sell booze. It's a pirate lounge.
I feel like they have to. I mean,
I don't know. Hopefully.
I didn't even think about that until you just said that. I was going into it like automatically assuming that.
The implications of this one
it's
are
like
a little
there's
bizarre.
It's just there's nowhere you can go without a reservation at this point at Magic Kingdom. I mean, I know it's still relatively new that they serve alcohol in Magic Kingdom at all, so maybe this will be their opportunity to start sliding it in elsewhere. But I'm excited about this. It sounds cool. Bringing back the Barker bird.
That's the part that I thought was really neat.
Where do we think this is going? Was that announced?
Tortuga Tavern, I would imagine.
That's what I was just about to say. There's no way.
Because they don't even use that.
Yeah, that has to be where it is, right?
Yeah, that's where my brain went.
Yeah. And I mean, there's really, like, looking at a map right now, there's not really a lot of other space that you could do this in.
Mm-hmm. Not in like a vicinity that makes sense.
Yeah, and I mean, also thinking about the fact that they're going to need a kitchen for something.
Right.
Like, if they're going to serve food, it's got to be more than just like a small little area.
Yeah, I just wonder if this is going to be something that you have to, like, I don't know, like how well themed is it going to be? Is it going to be like an Oga's reservation where you need to like actually get into it, or is it going to be just like a stop and like nomad lounge kind of thing?
My guess is the first like couple months it's going to be a major reservation thing, and then I would imagine
Dies
it's
down.
probably going to fall off. Yeah.
Not
that I don't think this is going to be big, but I think that it's going to be that initial shock of something new in Magic Kingdom, and then it's going to be, all right, well, depending on what they serve and what they have here, is it going to be something that's going to be like a draw? I think Oga's draw is that like you have an immersive environment that's tied into the land, and I don't really foresee that being the case with this.
Yeah.
But I'm excited. I think it'll be cool. It's just, I feel like this was kind of telegraphed with how little they used Tortuga Tavern.
Yeah. Has it still been the like test kitchen thing?
I could not tell you.
I've literally only been in there one time, and I want to say it was just open during either like an event like the Christmas party, or it was open during COVID as like a rest area. There was some weird reason that it was available, and I was like, well, this is the only chance I've ever gotten to go inside, so let me go look around. And I mean, it's literally just a room with tables and chairs, and I mean, it's well decorated and it's cool themed, but like that's the one and only time I've ever seen it open. So I don't know.
Yeah, and I'm excited for something new. I feel like that park desperately needs new things.
Yeah. I hope that they like, I wish they would incorporate some sort of like streetmosphere type of stuff other than, I guess they have like does Jack Sparrow still come out and do like a thing every once in a while on that little stage?
I feel like that died off a very long time ago.
I was about to say, I haven't seen that in forever if it is still going on.
Because they, at Not So Scary, had this pirate band playing, and sometimes they were on the stage, but then sometimes they were like just randomly standing in other spots around Adventureland, and it was really cool. It added a lot to the atmosphere.
That is really cool. Next little bit of news here is a part that behind the curtain, I did have to ask Brian about this before we started, because I was afraid that if we talked about this on air for the first time and he didn't know, there may be some emotional breakdowns here. But we've received word that Country Bear Jamboree is going to be getting a facelift. Essentially, from my understanding, is that they're adding a new act and they're changing the songs around so that it's going to be more reinterpreted versions of Disney songs in different genres of country music. And at first, to me, this sounded like a pretty good deal until that last little bit. I don't know about you guys, but that was the part that killed me on this one.
Oh, no, awful. I think this will be cool.
Really?
No, this is terrible news.
I was like, what?
Oh, my God. No, okay, so correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like there are definitely like two camps of people. There were people like me that wanted Country Bears to be there and not change, and there were people that wanted it like ripped up completely and thrown in the garbage. I don't think anybody was asking for an update or any kind of remake with Country Bear Jamboree, and that's exactly what we got.
Yeah.
I don't understand really just the idea behind this. I guess they're trying to reuse as much as they can, but at that point it's like it doesn't really need to be changed. Or if you're going to do something different, just do something different. As much as I love Country Bear Jamboree, you all know how much I love Country Bear Jamboree, but I don't know. I wouldn't, I would almost rather there be something else there than, a very half-hearted IP ridden like remake of this.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that also is my question I was going to ask you as the resident Country Bear Jamboree fanatic. Given that this is a remake of the attraction or like a redesign of the attraction, would you rather have no country bears or country bears in this capacity?
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm not trying to get too negative on it before I've seen it or anything like that, but I just think that, I mean, Country Bears was the extremely kitschy classic attraction that if you loved it because that's what it was. You didn't care that all of the animatronics made extremely loud clicking noises the entire time you were watching it. You didn't care that the songs were cheesy. That's what you were going for. That was the appeal of it. And me personally, yeah, I think that I've always loved Country Bear Jamboree, and as sad as I would be to see it go, I would rather it go out the way that I remember loving it than it, I hate to make this comparison, but it, getting the Figment treatment,
Yeah. I do think this is a little more accessible to Disney's current demographic that they're targeting. Like,
I get that.
It also kind of goes back to what we were talking about before with like it being a different way to kind of shove Disney properties into Disney things, like original attraction ideas, which I also get. I'm like really indifferent on this one.
Yeah, I don't know. The IP thing is weird for me because, again, it's like if you wanted more IP in the park, take Country Bear out, do something. As much as I'd hate it, put an IP based, like some sort of stage attraction or something in there if that's what you're going to do. I just don't understand the point of like taking this, what is a very original IP concept, and shoehorning more IP into it. Like, on the one hand, I don't think I would be that upset if they were just like doing new country songs or something like that. Like, that might be kind of interesting. I wouldn't, if I was in charge of the project, I wouldn't do that, but that's at least kind of in the theme of what Country Bears was to begin with. But it wasn't a way to like push more IP in the parks.
Yeah. That being said, what songs do you think they're gonna cover?
See, here's what I'm wondering: is they say like more. I'm assuming they're gonna go with still like kind of like classic country stars.
I would be super down for a Dolly. Yes!
Of course, who wouldn't be?
That would make it tolerable, the big change.
No, I think that, yeah, honestly, if they come back out and they say like Dolly's heading up this whole, effort, I'm like, you know what? Okay. But I don't think that's gonna be the case. Oh man.
I mean, it does say Imagineers are working with Nashville musicians to nail down the authentic sound. So there are chances.
I mean, who better than Dolly to do this right?
That's true. I don't know. I already have an idea of something in my head that I don't think I'm gonna like, but
oh, you have to share it now.
No, okay. Do y'all know who Jelly Roll is?
I do not.
Okay, because he's kind of a I don't know how to describe his music. It's like country based, but it's almost kind of like, it's like not really hip hop, I would say, but it does kind of have that kind of ishness to it. And I could definitely see them like trying to do something with Big Al with him, and I'm like terrified of that. So
I had to Google this, and the image that loaded for me was
when you Google Jelly Roll, it says American rapper.
Well, okay. Yeah, I guess kind of.
Ascending country and hip hop artist. That's
So maybe hip hop is a pretty good
That's
way
kind
to
of
just put it.
worrisome. If he's involved, I don't know. Just this is me totally judging a book by its cover, but
No, it's the cover's exactly what's inside the book.
Oh, okay, great.
So,
This is the one instance where you can do that.
yeah.
Oh goodness.
So what's next?
Next thing on here, which is less of a announcement and more of a just, hey, we're still doing this. They talked about the Blue Sky development that we discussed at D23 with the Beyond Big Thunder Mountain, and confirmed that it will be on a similar scale to Galaxy's Edge and Pandora. So I guess it's still a thing. I will judge that when we see the official details. But
yeah, this was Disney punting again. Just like, hey, we still don't have anything to tell you, but we got to fill out some time.
Which is wild because I feel like Destination D23 was never the big announcements thing. And like this one, they kind of were going for that.
I think a lot of people, and honestly, like myself included, with how crazy like 2017 was, I think people are still kind of like expecting that sort of announcement every time D23 comes around. And, I've been guilty of that because, 2017 happened. And then when we had 2019, it was kind of like, oh, such a, like a letdown. There's nothing coming. And then, COVID hit. And then like all the past D23s have been kind of disappointing, I would say. And I think a lot of that is them trying to live up to 2017. But again, it's like, if you don't have new information for us, don't just reiterate the same thing you've already said before.
Yeah.
Yeah. Moving into Epcot, we've got a couple of things here. Figment is now meeting at the Imagination Pavilion.
Wait times were 5 hours on opening day.
That is crazy.
Did you see how many times he fell? Because that was all
not.
Wait, what?
Apparently they're having so much trouble with the Figment costume, and that because they're reusing the area where the Wreck-It Ralph meet and greet was. So it's that like tunnel, and that tunnel is apparently not well designed for, I'm assuming, the costume that they have for Figment. And there have been at least 4 or 5 videos of Figment falling, trying to come out to meet people.
I mean, the costume has to be 6'4", 6'5".
It's pretty tall.
It's definitely pretty tall.
And I'm wondering where the cast member is looking out of.
Is it spoiler? They're not.
That's why they keep falling.
Bring up an excellent question, Beth, right? Because at first I was like, well, the nose holes. And I was like, wait, no, there's no way a person's head is getting up through that neck area.
Right.
It's probably like a mesh in the shirt that they have to try to see through.
Wow.
Just judging like this picture that's in the article. Oh, goodness. This one is wild to me, especially because they didn't announce anything with his attraction. Like, they do so much to say, hey, we know you like Figment, but we're not going to do anything with this ride.
Literally. We'll give you a popcorn bucket and a meet and greet. That's all you're getting.
They're going to continue milking him for merchandise, but they will not update his attraction.
Somebody on Twitter asked the very important question of, will he be meeting in his holiday sweater for the Christmas season? And I need to know that too. So, when the Bobs
that would be
listen
a very
to this episode back.
very easy way for them to get another 5-hour line.
Yeah, easily.
Can I say that is it just me, or does this costume look extremely cheap?
Yeah.
It's the legs.
The legs, and then also like looking at his hands and stuff, like this does not look like what I would expect from Disney. Especially like this is a promotional picture from Disney that I'm looking at here, of this costume. Like this should look better than this.
It's like I don't know what they could really do, but the fingernails and the toenails are like cloth.
Yeah.
Attached to the fingers and toes. I feel like they need some like, I don't know, detailed digits up in here.
Right.
Digits. I mean, the head doesn't look too bad. Everything else.
No, the head looks fine. it's really like the everything else of the costume.
This might be, I might get some hate for this, but I have a hot take. I hate this sweater. I hate Figment's sweater.
The yellow sweater?
I would much rather him be naked. I'm just saying.
That is a hot take.
That is a very hot take.
I just feel like it doesn't, like, it looks tacky. I know it's like classic and he, began with the sweater.
It's the Kodak colors.
I know, but I don't like the sweater. Is he wearing the sweater in the attraction? I don't think he is.
I don't think so.
No, I think he is in... He's probably wearing it at the one point where they replace him with the Christmas sweater, but for most of the attraction, no, he is not wearing the sweater.
See? So we could just do that. He can be naked. It's okay.
I feel like
Let
the
him be
costume
all
would look worse if he was naked.
Figment pushing the free love movement over here.
I mean, realistically, what is he covering? Like, if anything, shouldn't he be wearing pants?
Dang.
Isn't this the same debate that you go through with like Pooh and Donald Duck?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like, what are we covering? Does he have nipples under there? Come on.
I think it's just like, the illusion of modesty.
Yeah.
Does this episode get titled "Does Figment Have Nipples?"
Yes, it does.
And other D23 questions.
Oh man.
All right. Last little bit here. Where's this backdrop at? Because this is definitely not where he's meeting. But also Dreamfinder in the background. Again,
just twist the knife, Disney.
I know.
They kind of are.
Salt in the wound.
Next little bit that we've got here for Epcot news. Journey of Water is opening October 16th. Cast member previews have already happened. I don't know, this is cool. I've seen a lot of good stuff about this, and I think it'll be neat to have open.
Yeah. I think it looks like, from what I've seen, it looks very beautiful. It looks like it's a nice space to kind of, amble through. But most importantly, I'm so excited for those construction walls to come down.
Yes.
Oh, man.
That'll be the best part of all.
I'm gonna real quick skip over that, this whole thing, because I know we've talked about that at length. But the part that I'm really excited about, a new nighttime spectacular is coming to Epcot on December 5th. It's called Luminous, the Symphony of Us, and it will replace Epcot forever. Feature fireworks, fountains, and more. Just the name alone really giving me Harmonious vibes here. Or not Harmonious vibes, Illuminations vibes here.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I'm like,
maybe they were trying to do a combination,
I mean, yeah, it is actually a pretty good combination word there.
Yeah. I hope it's good. Epcot really needs a good nighttime spectacular.
Will there be kites?
The question that comes up every time.
I'm hoping no.
Yeah, I would really hope not.
Disney really did decide to lean into kites there for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Just a little bit too hard.
A little bit.
Along with that, World Celebration is going to open in December. We've kind of talked about that a little bit too, but I feel like we haven't really heard anything too big. This one's just going to be mainly space for the festivals, so that's nice. And then the other news that we got is that Test Track is being reimagined with in partnership with Chevrolet, and they're supposedly reaching into the history of the attraction and bringing some inspiration from World of Motion, and I've heard that it's going to be similar to the original Test Track. So this is one that I'm really cautiously optimistic about.
Yeah.
Crash test dummies.
Bring them back.
Please just don't bring the meet and greets back.
No, I want the meet and greet.
No.
They were so weird and creepy. No, this is really exciting though.
Yeah. You know, it is funny that they say that, but then this picture that they put below it for promotional purposes kind of speaks the exact opposite.
Yeah, it really does.
And also, this is, again, this is official Disney like press release stuff. This is one of the worst like professional photoshops I think I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
But
I feel like a lot of their concept has been like that recently, though, where it's like it looks like that's what they were going for, but then it's just way overly. It kind of looks AI generated.
It may be. Who knows?
Yeah,
I think a lot of these decisions have been too.
But now I feel like because Tron Light Cycle has opened, they can let go of their Tron dreams and Test Track and feel free to explore other options. So that's exciting.
That's honestly might be a part of this. Like, no joke.
They're like, well, we tried. We got the other thing. Let's move on.
Yeah, I did not think about that at all. Are we ready to move on to Animal Kingdom here?
No,
let's do it.
I'm sorry.
This one, it kind of hurts a little bit, but apparently
hurts a lot of bit.
We had to know this was coming.
Yeah. So Dinoland's being reimagined into a tropical Americas section. According to this article, Imagineers are considering Encanto and Indiana Jones experiences for the area, which feels like it's probably a pretty clever tell that Dinosaur is either going to be taken down or turned into Indiana Jones like it is at Disneyland.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong, that ride is amazing. But again, it hurts my heart that we're losing all these original stories to IPs. Especially an IP like Indiana Jones, which I don't really feel like anybody cares about anymore. Do they?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Harrison Ford does, but that's about it.
He's the only one.
Wow. You know what? He's got another huge IP in the parks that people are a lot more focused on. So let's just let him have that.
But he hates that one.
Yeah, I was going to say. Like,
well, you know what? That was his choice. He made his bed, and now he must lie in it.
Most of his reason for coming back to Star Wars was for Indiana Jones.
That was the deal he made with Disney. He was like, look, guys.
I feel like I heard that somewhere, and I'm probably not correct, but I could have swore around the time that like the new trilogy came out, his thing was he would do a couple Star Wars movies if they would give him another Indiana Jones movie.
That's pretty funny.
I mean, good for him, I guess, for playing his hand like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I think this is a really bittersweet thing because that area of the park needs a lot of love.
Mm-hmm.
And it'll be cool if they actually put time and effort into it. But it kind of sucks because I do love Dinosaur.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is one too. It's just like, obviously it makes sense to just do Indiana Jones, but almost it's like, is there a way? Could they incorporate like somehow into tropical Americas that we still went back to try to find some dinosaurs? I don't know.
Yeah.
Thank Disney. Y'all are better at coming up with ideas.
Yeah.
We just got to prepare ourselves because I feel like the end is near.
Yeah.
They better give Seeker a cameo or something, though.
That would be nice.
Yeah. So this next one, I feel real weird about that a Zootopia-inspired short is coming to the Tree of Life in Disney's Animal Kingdom. The current concept is filled with humor and action, taking you into the different biomes you see in the film, and some you've yet to see, which is, I don't know. This is a weird one because one, it's getting rid of It's Tough to Be a Bug, which, I mean, A+, it needed to go.
Yep.
but this was not the Zootopia representation I thought that we were going to get in the park.
No. Oh my God.
No.
This was the thing is it's like, why did everybody want Zootopia? Oh, it was like, because the movie created this huge expansive world that they could build upon. It's like, what if we stuck everything in a stage show inside of a tree? You know, it's like, this is, again, we asked for something. It was like Disney was half listening and they're like, oh yeah, Zootopia. Here's Zootopia.
And it doesn't even look like it's going to be anything like unique or like spectacular. It looks like a 3D thing, like a 3D film with maybe a Clawhauser animatronic.
That's exactly what
that's what it said. Yeah,
that's exactly what it says. And it's so funny because you can tell that it's going exactly where the Hopper animatronic was too.
Right.
Well, you know, last time I went there, the Hopper animatronic wasn't even there, so maybe they just preemptively. Yeah, honestly, it's like, wow, it's the one good part of the attraction.
And that is bizarre because that is arguably the best part of the attraction.
This is arguably the only worthwhile part.
It's objectively.
Objectively, yeah.
No, you know, no, I like when the thing stabs me in the back. That's
right. I like the stinky smells.
Yeah.
Or when the spiders come down from the ceiling.
Right.
Yeah. Seriously, I remember the last time I went on this, like, it terrified Olive, and I was like, and I didn't even get to see the animatronic. No. I was like, what a waste of time.
Wow.
Traumatize your daughter, and you don't even get to see the animatronic. Wow.
Exactly.
I do hope that this is good, but I don't know how it can be.
I mean, again, it's not that it'll be bad. I think they'll be able to make a cute little stage show with it and everything. But again, it's like, that's not what we wanted. And I would hate for Disney to kind of be like cashing in on Zootopia in such a small way when it has potential for doing a lot more.
When we literally have a train to a place that no one goes.
Yeah.
Hey.
Now, don't get me wrong. I like Rafiki's. But if anything, I feel like that is the place that they could have put something like expansive.
No, I mean, absolutely.
They could have kept a lot of the stuff that's already there. Like, they could have tied in the veterinary aspect of it and stuff.
I think so.
I feel like we've talked about that so much that it feels like it's so easy for them to just throw it in there.
Right.
That was pretty much everything that this article has. It did leave out the one thing that I don't remember if it was D23 that it came out at or if it was after, but apparently Soarin' over California is returning to Epcot for a brief period, which is exciting.
Yes.
I will not be there to see it, and I am a little bit having some FOMO, but
yeah, me too.
And then also they're adding scenes to Star Tours for Ahsoka, which should be expected at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Again, this is.
I have.
I haven't.
No.
No.
Mario, you didn't watch it?
I was really excited for this, and I have not had the time to watch anything. So.
Wow.
Yeah,
I thought you of all people.
I have a feeling that when it like finally wraps up, I'll sit down one weekend and just like binge through the whole thing and then be like super happy about it. But as of right now, I haven't had the chance to sit down and watch it. There's just my problem right now is I feel like I'm in this weird place with Marvel and Star Wars where there's just so much of it and I just don't have enough time that I'm starting to feel that like weird I'm behind on everything and I'm never going to catch up.
Now you understand how I felt for the past 10 years.
Yeah, and that's weird because like I feel like I put so much time into like following Marvel that I didn't feel like I was gonna feel that way until the TV show started coming out.
Well, I gotta say, nobody's breaking into your house.
Yeah,
or else they're gonna be met with something.
Some fierce hounds.
Yeah, they are having the time of their lives out there unsupervised.
Trying to think if anything else didn't get mentioned in this article.
I think that was mostly it. I know Allie posted a really good recap, so let me go reference that.
That's exactly where I was going. Oh, new character from Wish coming to meet and greet in Epcot. Although I don't really know how anybody can be super excited about it yet because we haven't seen this yet. But
that
the movie does look
weird
cute.
That they like doubled down, like already preemptively, or like we're gonna have meet and greets for characters that you don't know yet, and maybe put that out there like we're supposed to get excited about it.
Maybe they're trying to hype up the movie by announcing.
Maybe.
Have I told you guys my gripe with the trailer for this movie? I feel like maybe I have, but every time I've seen it, and it's come up a couple times where the trailer comes up, and you guys have seen the trailer for this movie, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's a part in the trailer where it goes from the studio that brought you, and it just lists like every popular Disney movie.
Yes.
Like it just goes through all of them, and it's so bizarre because it's like all you had to do is put the Disney logo there, and I knew that this is the studio that made Beauty and the Beast, The Lion King, The Little Mermaid. Like, I'm a big Disney fan, and yes, I do know that, but I feel like people that aren't would also know that.
That's common knowledge. No, you're very correct in that.
It's just a weird choice, and it takes up so much of the trailer.
Yeah. You got to make sure, though.
Yeah. We have a couple other things in here, just like random articles. If there's any of them that you guys want to highlight, I know there's a couple.
I just love this headline from Disney Tourist Blog. Bob Chapek claims being Disney CEO was 3 years of hell, but he pet a hippo.
That sounds like an Onion article, honestly.
It really, really does.
That also, like, I mean, not to dive too deep into this, but that ties into like the weird sort of state around the Disney company that's been out in the news recently, and how we essentially kind of got Disney World 2.0 from that CNBC article. For those that don't know, there was a CNBC article that was called Disney's Wildest Ride, Iger, Chapek, and the Making of an Epic Succession Mess. That was incredibly long. I don't know if anybody read through this because I started to and I kind of had to stop, but it was this massive article about the last like couple years and Iger's secession from leaving the Disney company to having Chapek take over to Chapek leaving and Iger coming back, and it was incredibly messy in the way that Disney World the book was, and I don't know, it's interesting.
Yeah, the articles like of Chapek speaking publicly about his time as CEO are just so long and information dense. It's just like trying to glean bits and pieces from it. It's just like everywhere you look is crazy experiences. But this one quote I do want to point out. Apparently, so there was like an executive retreat at Walt Disney World, and Chapek invited several executives to mandatory conferences for the bulk of the retreat. As a result, they missed out on the most of the scheduled fun, such as interacting with animals at Animal Kingdom and getting to ride new theme park attractions without lines. And so he had this like all these series of blunders as CEO, and then apparently he had his beard era because colleagues had told him that it humanized him to have a beard.
Isn't that great when you're like, wow, we cannot even connect with you as being the same species as us. Please grow out your facial hair.
Right.
Oh my God. That's harsh even for him. Jesus Christ.
I like this one too. Chapek referred to those who took a gloomy view of the Disney's prospects as Eeyores, a reference to Winnie the Pooh. That should be self-explanatory.
Oh man.
Yeah.
The paragraph that follows that starts with, "I swear I'm not making any of this up." It's all in the article towards the end.
Wow.
Gosh. Well, yeah, those were the big things that happened this week. There's also a news article in here that apparently Tiana's Place is open at Disneyland.
And it looks beautiful.
It does look pretty good. I'm hoping they do something to bring that over with the Beyond Big Thunder Mountain. So maybe we'll get that. Who knows?
I know. Oh my gosh, I would love to. I would love if we got that. I mean, it would make a lot of sense.
Yeah, it would. So I will turn it over to Beth because you had a trip recently.
I did, and it was quite a whirlwind. Our original plan was to go to Not So Scary on Friday and then Epcot on Sunday. The Epcot thing did not end up happening, but we did go to Halloween Horror Nights instead, which was kind of cool.
I know we're a Disney podcast, but I do want to hear a little bit about that too.
Yes. Yeah. So, Not So Scary was fun, just starting from the beginning. It was very rainy at first, so we just hopped over to the Poly and had a couple drinks trying to wait the rain out, and then we went back over to Magic Kingdom. It was very cute as always. We got to ride Tron because they had a special Not So Scary virtual queue for Tron, so that was cool. I had this really interesting milkshake. I'm going through my photos here as like a reminder of the things that happened. This milkshake was called a candy corn milkshake, and it had this fritter on top, this corn fritter that was dipped in white chocolate and had a piece of candy corn on it.
You lost me.
The fritter was actually the best part, in my opinion.
Really?
You lost me. The milkshake.
Okay, well, you'll be happy to know that the milkshake itself tasted nothing like candy corn. It tasted like creamed corn. Ooh. Like sweet and savory, and not really in a good way. It was very weird, so I would not recommend that. If anybody else out there is listening is going to Not So Scary, it's a pretty milkshake. The fritter is tasty. The milkshake itself, I didn't even drink half of it. I was like, this is bizarre tasting.
Who was asking for that?
I don't know, because they had candy corn soft serve one year at Not So Scary, and it was incredible. It still didn't really taste like candy corn, but it was delicious. This, not so much. They had a lot of weird options. This was really the only party specific food I ate, other than like half a pound of candy, you know. But they had a lot of weird choices. They had basically what was like a Pop-Tart filled with strawberry jalapeno jam, which actually sounded really good, and I wanted to try it. I just didn't get around to it. They had like soy glazed barbecue piggy wings. Like, they had a lot of weird choices, which I kind of commend them for, because I feel like Not So Scary tends to like lay it on really heavy with the sweets. And this year it seemed like they had a nice mix of sweet and savory, but there were some weird flavor combinations. Unfortunately, because of the rain previously, like in the day, we got kind of an abbreviated version of Boo to You and the stage show, the Hocus Pocus stage show, but it was still good. It was kind of the highlights. And the main reason we went down is because we are friends with Flynn Rider in the parade, and so that it was really cool to get to interact with him, because he like told us to stand in a specific spot so he would know to look for us, and then he could come over and interact with us. And I hadn't really had that happen to me before in a parade, so that was really fun.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's pretty fun.
Yeah. And then the stage show, we still got the main part of, I put a spell on you and everything. I do want to talk about the Zombies dance party in Tomorrowland.
Oh, no.
I felt so bad for these cast members because we walked by so many times, and I swear the most amount of people that were there at any given point was like 4 or 5 people. But
okay, but I feel like that's every dance party they try to do in Tomorrowland.
That's probably true, yes. But
Yes.
the characters were really cool because they had like a zombie, a cheerleader, one of the like aliens from the third one, and one of the werewolves from the second one. And me being a zombies nerd, I was obsessed with them and just kept walking by and watching them dance with these little kids. So that was really cute. Let's see. We went to this really cool store that people may have seen on TikTok. It's called Gods and Monsters, I think. It's like a big nerdy store with like anime and Pokemon and like classic monsters and all kinds of really cool like niche nerdy stuff. And it has a bar, like a speakeasy type of thing in the back that is Fallout themed.
I have seen this. That looked really cool.
It was awesome. And we spent way too much money there. I would highly recommend it to anybody who's in the area. It's not very far from property. They had those little, I don't know how to say it, the little coin machines where you get like a blind box, basically.
Oh, yeah.
They had like a ton of those, so that was really cool. They were selling Disney merch. So if you're local, and you may want to see if they'll buy your stuff, because they were selling stuff that I literally have. They were selling old Epcot festival passports for $5 each.
Oh my god.
I was like, dang, I could get some money off these. I got a bunch of leftover passports. They had like Trader Sam's mugs and like old pass holder glasses that you get and just like glasses that you would get like a food item in at a festival. It was kind of weird, but worth a try. We went and saw Yeehaw Bob later that night, of course, and he was awesome as always. He was a delight. I met Eddie Maserati for the first time and got a picture with him. I was very excited.
That was so awesome.
We were literally walking to Rainforest Cafe where my best friend works because he wanted to stop by and say hey to some of his coworkers. And I was like, no, he was like, let's go grab a drink over there. And I was like, okay, you guys go ahead. I'm going to go see if Eddie Maserati is over in front of the stage. And lo and behold, there he was dancing his heart out. And I just walked up and I was like, hey, how are you? And he's like, good, how are you? He has a very thick accent. I don't know what it is, like where he's from. But I was like, can I get a picture with you, please? And he's like, yeah, let's do it. So he's very sweet. And then I stopped by and saw Tracy Tree at Rainforest Cafe and had nightmares later on. Tree. Yeah. But yeah, so then the next day we went to Halloween Horror Nights, which was really, really cool. The wait times were simultaneously hellacious and not so bad, depending on when you walked by. We booked it straight to the Last of Us house as soon as the gates opened because that was the number one house on our list. And we ended up only waiting like 45 minutes for that. So that wasn't bad at all. And it was amazing. If anybody's a Last of Us fan, highly, highly recommend. The prosthetics and the jumps and like the sets, everything was so good. I don't want to spoil anything for people that might be going, but there were a few moments that were just like, ah. And the same thing for the Stranger Things house. If you've watched the most recent season of Stranger Things, it's like a play-by-play of the season. Like you go through all the iconic moments of the trailer where like Chrissy and Eddie are at, and he does the Chrissy wake up thing, and that was cool. Like I said, I don't want to spoil too much, but you literally, it just feels like you're walking through the season, and there are lots of really good jump scares in that one as well.
How many houses did you get to do in the course of the night?
We did 4.
Okay.
Which I think there are 10 total, so it wasn't too bad, especially considering we weren't like prioritizing going into every single house. We were definitely we were like Last of Us and Stranger Things we have to do. Everything else is just kind of a bonus. So like I said, we went to Last of Us first thing. Then we kind of just walked around and got some drinks and did some of this, like walk through some of the scare zones. One of my favorite things to do at events like that is watch other people get scared. So, so we would just grab a drink and then just kind of hang to the sidelines and wait for the, characters to jump out at people and scare them. Cause I find a lot of demented joy in that. And we went to Diagon Alley and saw the Death Eaters, and they were very cool interacting with people. And I posted in the Discord a little video. We actually just ended up following one because he looked like he was up to something. And then like back in like a corner and like dark corner, there was like, they started dueling, like 4 of them. Ooh, so it was pretty cool to have like those kind of, streetmosphere performers. They were just like walking around being creepy and like getting like really close next to people and acting like they were casting spells and stuff. So I thought that was a nice welcome addition. The other 2 houses we did there was like a Yeti campground one, and that one was cool. All 4 houses were awesome. I feel like that people have talked about some of the houses not being so great, but I don't think we just missed those because the ones that we did were awesome. So the Yeti one was cool, and then we did one that was like it's like a weird culty church thing, like creepy. I don't remember. It was called like Blood Moon something. Okay. But Laz's theory was that they wanted to do a Resident Evil house and that they didn't get the license in time. So that they just kind of had to repurpose it because he said it felt very Resident Evil, which I haven't played, but he loves this game. So I think 4 specifically is the one that he said this one felt like. But are you guys familiar with David S. Pumpkins?
Yes.
Because he was there.
Yeah, that was still weird to me that they brought him out as a character.
It was bizarre. They had, so I think the whole event was like one of the big sponsors was Peacock, right? Like the ABC or NBC, ABC, yeah, NBC. The NBC like streaming service Peacock was a big sponsor of this, and you actually get 6 free months of Peacock with your purchase, like the purchase of your ticket.
Wow,
that's so bad.
I know. I was like, dang, they're like literally giving it away. But so they had this Peacock bar that you could go up to that had like themed drinks, and it had like a backdrop you could take pictures with and cool lighting and tables and stuff, and you could just like hang out and grab a drink or whatever. And we were just like walking around like taking it all in, and we walked into the Peacock bar just to look, and David S. Pumpkins like walks up to me and is like, "Hey, I'm David S. Pumpkins." And I was like, "Oh my God, I do remember you." Like I literally said, "Oh my God, I remember you." He's like, "I'm going to scare the bejesus out of you." Like he did his whole little spiel.
That is great. I love that they were so confident to be like, we're going to go in with an SNL skit that we did one time.
Right.
That's the part that's so weird. It's like,
well, it's also because the joke about it was that nobody knew who he was in the.
Well, yeah.
So I mean, it's like, wow, they kind of really doubled down, on the meta thing. But
yes. So it was kind of weird, but it was a fun interaction. I was glad that he walked up to me because at first it didn't click because that skit has been around for a while and I hadn't thought about it in a long time. And I just thought he was a guy in a pumpkin suit because it was Halloween Horror Nights. Lots of people were dressed up, But then when he walked up to me and I was like, "Oh my God, yes, I do remember." So that was fun. That was a nice little interaction. They also had a couple of Last of Us kiosks that were really cool. They had like this kiosk where you could order food and like small snacks, and then then you would go down this like alleyway to pick it up, and it was very heavily themed. Like there were gates, and it said like, you know, Fedra Fuel Distribution Center and stuff like that, and it had all this nice signage that was themed around the game. So that was really cool. A lot of it, you know, I feel like with Halloween Horror Nights, the atmosphere is the best part. It's just like, for me, I just love walking around and looking at all the details that they put into this, because it really is an awesome event. And it had been a while since I had gone, and I think this is only my second one, but I loved it. Would highly recommend, even if you're a crybaby, because I definitely am, and I screamed so much in these haunted houses, but like in a fun way. So I think you just gotta, you know, not take it too seriously. Think about it. I always try to think about it as like live theater, like interactive live theater, because that's really what it is, you know? And then that kind of makes me not as scared, but then the jump scares always get me. But kind of like in a little adrenaline rush, so it's still fun.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm glad you had fun. That's it's a thing that I want to do eventually, and every year it comes around, I look like really heavily into all of the spoilers because I know I'm not going to go.
Yeah.
So it's fun to live vicariously through someone else.
Well, as we discovered in the Discord, if you are truly, truly not interested in the scary part of it, they do have a tour that you can just walk through the houses with a tour guide, and they'll tell you like cool behind the scenes stuff. And if I had known that, I might have done that too, because I always feel like I try to walk really slow in the houses because I want to take it all in, and I want to like look at all the details and stuff. But you know, you're in a line full of hundreds of people, so you can't take as much time as you want to. So I feel like that tour is a really good option if you want to soak it in really well.
Yeah. And it's neat. It depends on what you want to see out of it, because it looks like from the thing that I was sharing the other day, the houses are predetermined. So there's a 3 and a 6 house tour. And the 3 house tour, which I'm sure you would have loved, Beth, it's The Last of Us, The Darkest Deal, and Oddfellows Twisted Origins. So you would have been able to actually slow down and see The Last of Us, like the full set pieces and everything with the lights on.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And I mean, it's got to be a good way to like get to see some behind the scenes stuff too, because as much as, you know, we are a Disney podcast, Universal does do a lot of stuff for Halloween Horror Nights.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's interesting, you know, how the different approaches the parks take. And I feel like it was fun to get to have the full experience that last weekend, because we went to Not So Scary, which is obviously not so scary. It's all the lighthearted, fun, spooky stuff. Whereas Halloween Horror Nights is like the creepy, gory, scary stuff. So it was kind of like, you know, the whole spooky season in one weekend. I got to experience the different sides of it. It was pretty cool.
Nice.
Well, I'm glad you had a good trip.
Thanks.
Sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, anybody want to talk about anything before we wrap this episode up?
Please stand clear of the doors. Por favor, manténganse alejado de las puertas.